The Galactic Concord was ancient, spanning thousands of civilizations across 1,000,000 light-years. Wars had been fought, empires had risen and fallen, but one rule remained constant. When a new species was discovered, a peace delegation was sent first. No matter how savage or primitive, diplomacy always came before conflict. That was why, when long-range scanners detected warp signatures from a backwater blue-green planet called Earth, the Concord Council acted swiftly. "They are young," intoned High Arbiter Zythe, her crystalline body refracting light across the chamber. "Barely a few centuries into industrialization. Yet their signal strength is odd." "Odd?" asked Chancellor Vurek, his segmented mandibles clicking nervously. "Too strong for their development stage. Our probes detected weapons platforms in orbit, crude but powerful, nuclear traces across their histories, and an unusual adaptability in their biology." The council murmured. That was enough to warrant caution. And so the delegation was assembled. 10 representatives, each from a different Concord race, carried with them gifts of peace and technology. They would land, greet this humanity, and extend the Concord's hand. No one expected what followed. The delegation's ship entered Earth orbit under a white flag signal, their universal emblem of diplomacy. They descended toward Geneva, where humanity's leaders had promised to meet. Broadcasts from Earth showed crowds waiting in awe. Transmission logs captured their landing. The doors hissed open. The delegation stepped onto human soil. And then nothing but static. For 3 hours, the Concorde listened to garbled fragments, screaming and strange thundering sounds. Then one final message came through before the ship's beacon went silent. One word, burned into every Concorde relay station, repeated across every frequency, translated into 1,000 tongues. "Run." Middle. Panic spread like wildfire across the Concorde. "Run. From what?" "The humans are primitives," shouted a counselor. But others were not so sure. The delegation was composed of elite envoys, trained negotiators, even warriors in case of danger. For them all to vanish, leaving behind only a single desperate warning, meant something far worse than savagery. The council convened emergency sessions. Spies and scouts were dispatched. Reports trickled in. Fragments of human broadcasts, data scraped from satellites, intercepted transmissions. What emerged was unsettling. Humans thrived in every hostile environment. Frozen tundras, burning deserts, crushing ocean depths. Their history was a tapestry of war, famine, plagues, and survival. They had turned diseases into weapons, harnessed fire from the atom, split the skies with machines of steel. "Look at this," whispered Zythe, projecting images of human history into the chamber. Scenes of wars. Thousands of years of endless conflict, yet always followed by rebuilding. They do not die. They adapt. They conquer even themselves. The most disturbing discovery came from an intercepted human file labeled War Protocols. The Concorde had rules of engagement, limits to protect civilizations. Humans had no such boundaries. Their manuals spoke of total war, of burning entire cities, of fighting until not a single enemy remained standing. And their stories, myths of apocalypse, heroes born from nuclear fire, films depicting invasion after invasion, were not of fear but of defiance. "Do they prepare for extermination scenarios as entertainment?" asked Chancellor Vurek, appalled. "Yes," said Zythe grimly. "And they cheer for victory, even against impossible odds." But one thing puzzled the council most. Why had the delegation warned them to run? Why not negotiate? Why not surrender? To answer that, a second mission was launched. Not diplomats but spies cloaked in stealth. Their orders: observe only, do not engage. The stealth ship entered orbit weeks later. Its crew monitored human activity from the shadows. What they saw froze them. Humanity was not preparing for peace. They were preparing for war. Earth's nations, normally fractured, competitive, had united almost overnight. Military drills spanned continents. Factories roared as if entire armies were being forged. Spaceports lit up with launches, crude but rapid, filling orbit with satellites. But the strangest thing of all, humanity had erected monuments, not to gods but to their fallen soldiers. Rows upon rows of stone and steel, honoring sacrifice. The spies reported that humans revered death in battle as noble. When the spies attempted to gather samples, everything went wrong. One of them was captured. His last transmission described being cornered by humans who knew he wasn't one of them. They did not scream. They did not panic. They simply surrounded him, eyes burning with a cold fire. They knew, the spy whispered before his signal cut. They always knew. Run. The revelation. The Concorde could no longer ignore it. War councils debated night and day. Some demanded a preemptive strike before humanity advanced further. Others insisted on retreat. But before a decision was reached, humanity made theirs. Without warning, human ships, primitive, clunky, fusion-driven, appeared at Concorde borders. Not one, not a fleet, but hundreds. They bore no weapons larger than railguns and nukes, yet they pressed forward fearlessly. The Concorde dispatched warships to intercept. The battle should have been one-sided. Advanced plasma lances against crude kinetics, shielding against steel. But the humans fought like demons. They rammed ships twice their size. They detonated their own reactors in suicidal charges. For every human vessel destroyed, 3 Concorde ships went down in flames. Reports poured in of humans boarding enemy cruisers with nothing but rifles and blades, cutting through crews in savage close combat. Prisoners captured spat in their captors' faces, demanding to be killed so their comrades could avenge them. The Concorde was shaken. Victory was possible, yes, but the cost was unthinkable. They don't fight to win, murmured Zythe, horrified. They fight to ensure their enemy loses, even if it costs them everything. The council recalled the first delegation's message. Run. Now they understood. The truth of humanity. A captured human officer, restrained but unbroken, was brought before the council. They demanded answers. Why did humanity resist so fiercely? Why did they throw themselves into hopeless battles? The officer only smiled, bloodied but proud. You don't understand, do you? You came to offer us peace, but on your terms. To us, peace isn't the absence of war. It's the freedom to fight for what we choose. You thought we were primitives. You thought we'd kneel. But we don't kneel. He leaned forward, eyes blazing. We endure. We adapt. We outlast. That's why your delegation told you to run. Because once humanity decides to fight, nothing in this galaxy can make us stop. The council chamber was silent. And then, for the first time in millennia, the Concorde voted. Not for conquest, not for negotiation, but for retreat. Ending. Earth was declared a Class Omega death world. Not because of its storms or beasts, but because of its inhabitants. Concorde maps marked the Sol system with a single warning. Do not approach. Trade routes were redrawn. Patrols were shifted. And slowly, the galaxy learned to whisper of humanity with fear. But on Earth humans celebrated. not because they had won outright but because they had survived.